Yes, good morning to you. Extremely somber moment here at the Mlangeni family household here in Dube, Soweto. Without further ado, I'm going to hand over to the son of Andrew Mlangeni, Selo. Very, very difficult time for you and your family, Mr. Mlangeni.
Yes, very difficult time indeed, very difficult. Yeah.
Our condolences of thoughts, of course, go through from Newzroom Afrika and the people of South Africa to you and your family. How is the family holding up at this time? We understand that Baba Mlangeni was not a young man, but what is the feeling inside the household?
Oh, it's very difficult. It's very, very, very difficult. We didn't expect him to go so soon. Even though we knew that he was an old man, but it came so quick. I remember we just celebrated his 95th birthday, and he was still very strong. You know, so we never thought that will happen so quick. So the family is still under shock. It was, very difficult time we are going through now.
Does the family have any more information as to what happened to Baba Mlangeni? We understand he was admitted to hospital with an abdominal complaint.
Yeah, he has been having a abdominal problem and a running stomach. And according to the doctor, they think that he had some bacteria in the stomach, and they were treating him for that. So they were also hoping that with the treatment that we're giving him, that maybe he'll overcome this illness. But unfortunately, he has succumbed to that.
I can certainly understand that this is a moment when your entire family and the community around you here are in shell shock. You said, of course, Andrew Mlangeni, Baba Mlangeni was a very, very fit man, and nothing can ever prepare you for this. And now with the restrictions that we have on funerals with regards to COVID-19, it makes it even more difficult, I'm sure.
Oh yes, it makes it very difficult. So far we haven't really thought about what we're going to do because it's still fresh. We just came this morning from the hospital when they called me around 11 o'clock at night. So we have to rush to the hospital. Came here 2 o'clock in the morning. I haven't had a sleep, so we'll see how it goes from here onwards. We just have to be strong. And, he left too soon for us. It was too soon, yeah.
It's always extremely difficult, the family of struggle icons having to share their loved ones, share their parents with the nation. I want to thank you very much for sharing Baba Mlangeni with the people of South Africa, and thank you for the fantastic work that he did. Perhaps you could share one or two memories with us, maybe something that particularly sticks out for you as his son. What's going to be one of your cherished memories of your dad?
He was a very honest man, and that's what he tried to inculcate into us, to be honest and to be humble. He was a very humble man. Wherever he goes in the street, he greets people, he talks to people, and he was a man who was down to the earth. That's why I still find him staying here in Soweto, because he said he'll never leave Soweto. That's where he belongs. He belongs to the people of Soweto. And I would like to thank you for taking the interest for his life. As a family, we do appreciate that. Thank you very much.
The final question from me, Mr. Mlangeni, and thank you so much for your time during this very, very difficult moment for you and your family. Baba Mlangeni was really the last surviving Rivonia treason trialist that was still with us. He died at 95. He's got a very, very illustrious legacy. You've spoken about the personal memories that you have of him being a very honest and forthright man. He described himself as a backroom boy, someone that didn't like to hog the limelight but ensure that the right things were being done behind the scenes. What do you think his legacy, politically, socially, to the people of South Africa, what do you think his biggest legacy is going to be that he leaves behind?
Oh, it's a very tough one, that one. It's a very tough one. I mean, his legacy is the love for the people, and that he's a man of integrity, and he wanted to see everyone being uplifted to a certain level. As he has been saying, it has been paining him many times when he look at watch the TV and see all these rapes that have been going on, killing of innocent children. You know, this gender-based violence, he was very much against it. And he stood firmly about it, didn't even hide it wherever he had to speak in public. He was always, you know, to an extent that he was saying, government, bring death sentence back, you know, because of the anger that was in him of what is happening in this country. We'll miss him. We'll miss him.
Mr. Mlangeni, thank you very much for your time on Newzroom Afrika, and our thoughts and prayers go out to you at this very, very difficult moment.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much, and thanks to the listeners.
Here we are live at Andrew Mlangeni's house in Dube, Soweto. Somber moment for this community, for indeed his family and the entire South Africa. The last surviving member of the Rivonia treason trialists, no longer with us.
Now, Nickolaus, as you speak to the somber mode and a very devastated family there, what was really heartwarming to hear is, as Mlangeni says, the legacy that his father leaves behind is the love of the people. And we know, of course, that he himself, a struggle stalwart, Andrew Mlangeni, spoke about the importance of improving the lives of the people of South Africa.
Indeed. Speaking at this moment, very, very difficult to pinpoint his father's legacy. We're talking about the fact that an honest and forthright man he was. He only wanted to see the best in people and ensure that their ability to enjoy the fruits of the freedom that he fought for alongside other great leaders like Nelson Mandela, Walter Sisulu, Govan Mbeki and others was something that not only his family enjoyed, but also every person in South Africa, black and white.
As we speak on the back of some of the revelations that came out of the State Capture Commission of Inquiry, and a lot of talk around that, a lot of talk around corruption, the impact that it has on the very people of South Africa, and we reflect on the legacy and the steps that giants like Andrew Mlangeni took to ensure that the country gets to the point that it's as we celebrate the country coming from a really dark past. Now, looking at some of the values that Andrew Mlangeni embodied when it comes to corruption and his views of President Cyril Ramaphosa's leadership, saying that he commends him for making all efforts to ensure that corruption is curbed and those who are responsible are brought to book. As you stand outside his home and we speak about him and reflect on his legacy, expanding on a man who didn't mince his words and really loved his country, what are some of the thoughts that come to your mind, Nickolaus?
Well, as I mentioned in conversation with his son Selo, Andrew Mlangeni was never in the spotlight. He certainly wasn't the icon of the struggle that Nelson Mandela was, or indeed to even a lesser extent the likes of Govan Mbeki and Walter Sisulu. But what Andrew Mlangeni was a man that remained integrous throughout his fight for freedom and struggle for rights of all South Africans. And it's certainly something that comes to my mind now. And indeed his legacy is not only the years that he spent in prison, also spending 27 years behind bars, 20 of those on Robben Island, after being among those that were convicted at the Rivonia treason trial. And also, let's not forget, post-1994, he served 10 years in the National Assembly as a Member of Parliament, serving in the Mandela the Mandela administration as a Member of Parliament from 1994 to 1999. Some may argue that he could have easily taken up a cabinet post, but I think that really just speaks to the humility and the character of the man, that he chose to serve the people of South Africa as an ordinary MP and chose to do his work in his community as well. He returned to the National Assembly in 2009 and served in the first administration of Jacob Zuma again as a Member of Parliament, serving 5 years before his retirement in 2014. And let's just get real. I mean, that was only 6 years ago. The man retired at 89 years of age. And as his son Selo mentioned, albeit him being 5 years away from his centenary, he was an extremely fit man. He was an extremely active man as well. And his passing, albeit coming at a time where we are really experiencing so much death during the COVID-19 crisis, comes as a massive, massive surprise.